friends. I am sharing today a recipe that you do not want to sleep on. You want to bookmark, save, and try this recipe. You cannot just Google and pull this recipe up. This is a family secret of sorts, and I'm gonna give you the story behind it as I prepare to show you Mimi's famous beef brisket. Mimi is my mother-in-law, Zane's mom, and she is an angel. There's never been a nicer, more precious person, and she is a fabulous cook. So when Zane was growing up, his dad was a preacher, and they moved for 3 years to Amarillo, Texas. And in Amarillo, Texas, brisket is their pot roast, whereas in the South and in many places, pot roast is like a chuck roast or an English side roast. It's beef. But in Amarillo, brisket is their pot roast. It's what they serve most often for the family meal. And this recipe was given to her by the church ladies at Amarillo. If I had $1 for every time I have made this recipe, I would have a lot of money. This recipe is easy. It's make ahead. It's freezer friendly. It will feed a crowd. This recipe is perfection. So I'm gonna start with the brisket. What you need is a beef brisket that is flat cut. And you can see this is a flat cut beef brisket. I have found that the best place, at least where I live and in my neck of the woods, to get a great beef brisket at a decent price is Costco. So this is beef brisket flat. This is $8 a pound. The lowest I've ever seen a beef brisket is probably $5.50 a pound. Just depends on pricing at the time. This is 6.81 pounds, so this is almost a 7-pound brisket, $54.41. One thing I want to note, do not mistake a corned beef brisket for the brisket for this recipe. You do not want corned beef brisket. It has different seasonings that are totally gonna mess up this recipe, so you want a flat cut beef brisket. Do not worry about trimming any of the fat, because the fat is going to add flavor during the cooking process, and you can pour it off at the end. You want to open your beef brisket. You just want to cut it open. And I had a friend pick this up today because she was going to Costco, and she said, hey, you want me to get anything? I said, get a beef brisket. She was getting one too. One thing, when you're choosing your beef brisket, try to get it as even as possible, as flat as possible. This is a great example of a perfect size that's gonna cook very evenly. Sometimes you'll get some that are real thick at one part and they just don't cook as evenly. Okay, so she's a beauty. All right, so I'm gonna take one glove off to show you all you need to marinate. Now, you marinate this with a dry rub, and then you have a liquid marinade, and put it in whatever container you marinate your meat in, and you marinate this, I like to do 24 hours. If you do not plan to cook your brisket within a few days, go ahead and do all of the marinade, put it in the Ziploc freezer bag, and freeze it. Freeze it in the marinade. I will buy a beef brisket at Costco or wherever, and I don't come home and put it in the freezer. I come home, marinate it, put it in the bag, label it, then freeze it. Because then when you need or crave a delicious beef brisket, the hard work is done. All you have to do is take it out, stick it in the fridge a day or two, and it will thaw and it'll be fully marinated. And then all you do is cook it. So I always freeze mine in marinade. I will link to my recipe because there's some details that you might find interesting, but you do not need a recipe. This is foolproof, foolproof. 3 salts, that's it. 3 salts. I am the biggest fan of Redmond real salt that you've ever met. A US company in Utah, they mine their own salt. It has all the minerals, they don't strip it. I have every Redmond salt product you can have, except I don't know if they have celery salt. So this is random celery salt, but I have Redmond's onion salt, garlic salt, and celery salt. So we're just gonna start with celery salt. You don't even have to measure, you just generously sprinkle. Okay, this may be a little clumpy. Okay, this. Okay, so there we go. And then you just rub it in. Just rub it in where you coat all parts of the meat. Not only does salt add flavor, it tenderizes. Okay, so now we're gonna turn this over. Woo, it's a heavy. Now this fat, when it is fully cooked, you just pull or scrape that fat off. We're gonna season it. So here we go. I need to break up my salt. And then our celery salt. And just rub it in, and we'll rub it in the sides. Just really, really well. You can add more as needed. And as this cooks, all the fat and all these seasonings make an au jus, and you can actually skim the fat off, and it's wonderful to save the au jus. It's very flavorful. Put a little over here. Okay. Now I'm gonna change gloves. I change gloves several times just when I'm working with clean gloves. Okay, so now she's marinated. She's dry marinated. We have our salts. So I'm going to go ahead and put her, I don't know why I'm calling the brisket her. Maybe it's a him. You know what? I think it would be a him, because I think it's a steer. I'm not sure, guys. Either way, this is a 2-gallon freezer Ziploc, and I sanitize very well the outside of the bag and the top of the countertop. It's a little bit mature when you first get it in. Okay, so see how that fits? See how that fits? So we have the salts, and this is the last part. Now I can take my gloves off. Just get a container, liquid smoke, hickory regular liquid smoke. You're gonna use the whole bottle. Yes, you're gonna use the whole bottle. This is a salty dish, okay? So you're gonna pour it in, and then you're gonna do half a cup of Worcestershire. Worcestershire is probably one of my favorite all-time condiments. It's so rich and it's perfect for steak and beef. That's it. Now, you're just gonna pour that in. If you had a ginormous brisket, larger than say this 7-pound, you might want to double your marinade. I'm gonna make sure this is sealed, and I'm gonna give you another tip. I've made this so many times, I know exactly what can go wrong and how to prevent it. People go wild over this because they've never tasted it like this before. And this is actually an oven recipe. You cook it long, low, and slow in the oven, 12 hours, then let it sit without opening the foil, 2 hours. It just keeps cooking. And it actually shreds with a fork. You can chop it with kitchen shears, and it's like chopped pork. It is not sliced. I don't slice this brisket. It's melt fork tender, so you can chop it or shred it. So here we have it. Now, I'm going to label it. You always want to label what's inside and the date that you froze it. You think you'll remember, or you think you'll know what something is, and you don't. So I'm going to label this. I'm not freezing this. This is just going to marinate. So I'll turn this when I get home from dinner. I'll turn it, and I'm going to show you something you're going to need if you're marinating this in the fridge. You do not want to put this bag directly into the fridge. If this were to leak, it would go all over your fridge. You want to put it in like a pan, like a jelly roll pan, a roaster pan that's in the bottom of most ovens. I'm going to put it on this because if it leaks, you have this. So I'm putting down foil. This is what you need. This is what you need. So let me get this wiped up. I don't want to keep working on this space until we get this up. Then I'm going to use hot water, but right now I'm going to wipe all this off. And then I'm going to clean this even more. I'm very hyper germ phobic. And then look, I'm also going to spray this bag. You just don't want to be spreading germs. So got the bag there. got the bag here. So clean bag, clean counter. I'm gonna put it here. And the reason I put the foil is this pan is big enough to cook the brisket in. So when I cook it, I'm just gonna let it out, put it in on top of the foil, and then I'm gonna wrap this pan with the brisket in it, fat side up. We're gonna have the fat side up when we cook it. And it's gonna create a little oven, and it's going to cook 200, you can do 225, wouldn't go over 225, you can even do 180, that's officially where you start smoking something. You can do this on the grill, pellet grill, or you can do this in the oven. 99% of the time I do it in the oven, and it's fabulous. It tastes smoked because you have all the liquid smoke. But we have a pellet grill, so I'm going to wrap all this up tomorrow. Put the pellet grill on 180, 200. I'm gonna put it in early. It'll be on that pellet grill probably till 5, 6 o'clock, even later. It's not gonna burn. Now, you don't want to dry it out, but it's not gonna burn. All the details are on my blog about how to gauge the time, but it's long, low, and slow, oven or pellet grill. And then when you pull it out, guys, don't start unwrapping it, letting the air out. You wanna pull it off of the grill or out of the oven, and it'll be covered in foil. Let it sit at least an hour, preferably 2. So while it cools, it's still warm and it's heating and it's still cooking. And then you will have a lot of au jus, so be careful wherever you take it off of the grill or out of the oven, be careful because there's gonna be a lot of au jus that is gathered. And you might even want to get a bigger, I'm actually probably going to get a bigger sided, maybe an aluminum disposable pan, because I have pulled this out of the oven before and spilled au jus. Then when it's ready, you'll skim off the fat, discard it. If you don't want to discard it, you can do something with it. And then it'll pull just in long shreds. And then I just get kitchen shears and chop it, and have the biggest pile of yummy beef brisket you've ever had. We serve it with white and red barbecue sauce and slaw. And if you want even more details along with recipes that go really well with this, I will link to my website where you can find all of that. But guys, trust me, this is a recipe you want to save and you want to make it because it's really hard to explain, but it's fantastic. And I don't think you'll eat brisket any other way again. Hey friends, I'm glad you're here. This morning, I shared that I was putting a beef brisket in the oven. I put it in before 8 o'clock, right before I went to church, and it is now 7:30 p.m. It's been sitting uncovered just like this for about 2 hours. I took it out about 5 or 5:30. So I've been letting it rest, and as it cools down, it's still cooking because of this oven that I've made with the foil. This is why you don't just take it out of the oven and take off the aluminum foil and start cutting it. You want to let it rest. 2 hours is perfect. So now I'm going to show you all what this brisket looks like after long, low, and slow all day in the oven. Now, look at this au jus. That's why I told you all you need a pan with high sides. Now that's a lot of au jus, and we don't need all of this. So I'm gonna pour some of this out into the garbage. Actually, I'm gonna pour it into the sink. So now, you see, I just got a little bit. Now, if you recall, I put the brisket in. Now it was a lot bigger. It was filling the pan. It's shrunk as it's cooked. And as you recall, the fat was on the top. I put it fat side up, and I don't know if you can see. I want you all to watch how easily this fat layer comes off. So I'm gonna put this, because the dog doesn't need all this fat. We don't need all this fat. The fat has done its job and it's flavored this meat and made a great au jus, but I'm gonna put the fat into the trash. Now, some people have things they wanna do with this fat, but I discard it and just keep all the flavor. Okay, so you just scrape it. You don't need any knives, utensils, because this is so tender. Oh, goodness. Y'all, I beg of you to make this. You will not believe. I don't think you've ever had brisket like this. I never had until I met Zane's mom, Mimi. Now, I'm gonna show you all. You know, typically, if you get brisket at a barbecue joint or a restaurant, they slice it against the grain and it's in slices. Look at this. Look at this. Now, fork needed. Well, this is pulled brisket right here. This is pulled. You know, I ordered some bulk meat tonight because tomorrow is Memorial Day. So I ordered some meat from one of our favorite barbecue restaurants nearby, and you can choose pulled or chopped. So this is pulled. So if you like your meat just barely pulled and in shreds like this, that's pulled. Now, I'm going to chop this. I just think chopped is a little easier to work with. It's easier to pile on sandwiches when you've got these long shreds. Now, of course, you could just cut this in half and still have pulled, but I'm going to show you how we do it and how easy it is. You just lift up the brisket and you just chop it with kitchen shears. This is so easy. I just feel like not a pit master, but a meat master. Guys, you will love this. You will love it when you serve this to friends or family and they rave. They'll ask for the recipe. I promise you, if you serve this to people that you've never served it to before, somebody, at least one person, is gonna ask you for the recipe, probably more, because this is unique. This is an Amarillo, Texas version of brisket. This is just how they do it. It's delicious. Now, I did not put this on the pellet grill. I just got busy. So this was all day on a 200-degree oven. If I'd put it on the pellet grill, I would have put it on 200, and the only difference would be that there would have been smoke. But because this was marinated in a marinade that has liquid smoke, you're getting smoke flavor. However you choose to make this, whether in an oven or on a pellet grill or both, I have done half and half. It's gonna be great. Now, tomorrow's Memorial Day, so I've got this all done. So I'm going to cover this, put it in the fridge, and tomorrow I'm gonna pull it out so it'll be cold tomorrow because it'll be overnight in the fridge. And I'm just going to heat the oven on probably 300. And then I'm just going to gently reheat this meat, and it will be just like it is right now. You don't want to microwave it. You don't want to do anything major to it because it's perfect. You just want to let it rest overnight in the fridge and then reheat it tomorrow. Serve this with your favorite barbecue sauce. We serve this with white and red, Alabama white and red. I promise you, my friends, if you try this, you're gonna love it, and I wanna hear from you if you do. I'm so grateful for all of you for stopping by. Follow my YouTube channel if you like this and want more. And as always, thank you so much for stopping by. Be blessed and stay savvy.